What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Carbonite Crew YouTube channel. Last week we did the ultimate MCU bracket. We started with a phase 1, phase 2. Today, phase 3. So let's go ahead. Let's get into it.
Assemble.
Ultimate MCU bracket. We got to get through 4 phases. Last week we did phase 1 and 2. Today we're only going to do phase 3 because 1, there's just a lot more movies.
So many.
And quite frankly, we're gonna argue. We did not come to any close consensus on this stuff, and I love it. We did for the sake of this video.
Yes,
we used averages. Mm-hmm. There was math involved, so I can't be certain that you didn't fudge some numbers and pull some averages up.
We'll get into it in a little bit, but if I were to have fudged the numbers, a certain movie would not have been left out of our top 4.
That's 100% true. We'll get into that a little bit, and we'll talk about why Homecoming's not as great as everyone thinks it is. But
it's so good.
That's the problem with this phase. They're all good movies.
They really are.
There's like 2 that are just like, who cares? And those are our bottom 2.
Our bottom 2, those are kind of duds. But then after that, it's just like banger after banger after.
I mean,
this was good movie after banger after banger.
This was that time in the MCU where it was like, okay, I'm excited. You can't not be excited.
It was the glory days.
Boom,
you're right.
Boom, boom, boom. Let's just jump into this, and then because we're gonna argue once we get towards the top, so let's get these bottom ones just
number 11.
Away. Number 11. Ooh.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
It's pretty easy. This felt easy for me. This movie was just not my cup of tea. I remember watching it and being like, I want to like it. That was disappointing.
I want to like it though. I've turned it on multiple times. I'm like, I want to like this movie, and I just I can't.
It's because now we know both of the other ones are phenomenal. The first Guardians, so good.
It's a classic.
So very, very good. It's a classic, you're right. And so when Volume 2 came out, I was pumped for this, and I was excited. I remember watching it in the theaters and just being like, that didn't do it for me. I remember it was one of the few that while I was watching it, I realized
yes,
not my thing.
And it sucks because the logo here is just
it's a good logo,
breathtaking.
We've got all the logos, and so we've seen them all over the last hour or whatever. And this is a good one.
It's cool. The really colors, this is the way the red and blue offset.
They pop.
It's cool. Volume 2.
But the movie kind of sucked.
It did not live up to its logo. It did not live up.
Yep. Number 10.
Number 10 on this list. Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Another movie that kind of sucked.
I want to like it. Again, I want to like it.
You want to like it because it's a Marvel movie.
It's not a bad movie. But the villain's forgettable.
I don't even remember who it is.
It was like Ghost, but it was really Lawrence Fishburne's character, who was another scientist. See, exactly. It was really cool that they shrunk the whole lab into a suitcase. Didn't that happen? Was that the second one?
I think so,
That was cool. That's about it.
Yep.
And there were little cars. I forgot that this one was, I thought this one was one up actually.
Oh, well, they're both pretty bad.
No, I thought the next one after this was where this one should be. So let's get into, because we can argue.
You're saying when we were talking about 2 movies that were bad.
I was talking about Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and then our next option, which is Captain Marvel, because it's a bad movie.
It's a good movie.
It's not a good
I had it ranked higher than this, I think.
You did.
And that's what brought it.
I had it ranked lower than this.
I think you had it last.
They brought the average down.
You despise this movie so much, and it's funny. You always have.
It's just not a good movie, and it's fun. The new one looks good. The Marvels.
It does. It
looks phenomenal. So, I definitely was.
Is that kind of a Captain Marvel sequel?
It is. But we've already introduced the new Marvels, so we're gonna have them in this one.
Yep.
But they realized the problem with that movie, and that's why they're like, let's get other characters too.
It's a good movie.
They should have introduced her after Endgame. I think that was the problem. I think she ruined she didn't ruin Endgame, but I don't think her character in Endgame was used very well. But did you see Justice League?
No.
Well, I'm gonna explain to you why this movie is bad. So
let's hear it.
In Justice League, Superman's dead.
Spoilers.
Okay. And then at the end they bring him back and they're fighting, whatever his name is. They're kind of losing, and then Superman comes back because he's alive and then just wins. The other people don't matter, right? That's what happens with Captain Marvel in Endgame, but they realized filming this, they're like, oh, this isn't good. And they're like, just have him punch her away and she won't come back. That was the problem. It's stupid. That's stupid. Maybe Infinity War is better than Endgame. I'm giving a little bit of spoiler for later, but maybe I'm changing the rankings. Like, that's a stupid moment. I don't know. I'm just Captain Marvel is where it's at. And it's too high. So I cannot believe this next one's even where it's at.
You say that, but then every movie after this, you're gonna be like, okay, yeah,
here we go.
I get this. This is where it really starts to change. Here at number 8, we've got Doctor Strange. Ooh. This is where it's like these movies are good, but there's so many good movies in this phase that like they keep getting bumped down the list.
Right. In this movie, there is an animated movie that came out in like 2014 or 12 or something, and I'd watched it before this ever came out, kind of preparing, you know.
Yeah.
And this movie follows that pretty closely.
Interesting.
Like, I think it does.
I guess it is it's his origin story. So
exactly, it's his origin story.
Kind of is what it is, but
this is a great origin story movie.
It's a good one.
Almost perfect.
Does it feel as similar to some of the other ones? I feel like.
Yeah, it definitely has its own feeling. I think that's why I was off of it for a little few years. But like I said, it ages really, really well. 7. Number 7.
Yeah, we're counting down. Wow.
I know, Spider-Man Far From Home.
I'm pretty sure this is your fault.
I love Far From Home.
It's very good.
I think Far From Home is a really good movie. I love this movie because I think Jake Gyllenhaal's villain character, you know, he's straight off the Taylor Swift Red album, and he's the villain of the whole story. And I love it. Every minute of it.
I do love this movie. I have a hard time ranking the Spider-Man movies. All 3 of them I love dearly. Number 6. This movie.
I love this movie. This is a great movie.
This is a good movie. So this is where
it's like a top 5 MCU movie, I think, for me.
This is where I'm struggling. So this movie is not in the top 4 because I had it ranked low enough that it dumped it down to 6. Because I think you had it probably
3 or 4. I don't. We should have brought our rankings with us.
I forgot to grab them, but I had it pretty low. I like the movie.
It's a great movie,
but it's just not my favorite. So let me ask you this: we got time to dig into this, right?
Nah.
That is good.
Nah, come on, dude. He literally comes out of nowhere through like a wave of lightning and crashes down while Led Zeppelin's playing. It's so cool, dude.
It's cool. But like, cool scenes don't make the movie, right?
That's very false, dude.
So I think here's my thing with the Thor movies is I think I have trouble with the comedy aspect of it and the serious aspects of it, where they come together and like that feel
like it doesn't mesh together.
For
like
me,
the other
I feel like it doesn't. Like Guardians is similar, right? But that works for me. For whatever reason, it doesn't work as well for me in the Thor movies.
Okay, that makes sense. I get that.
It's a comedy movie, right? Like,
right.
It's very unserious all the time, but like serious things are happening. Great movie, very good movie. Just not my.
Do you know how
in this list of movies, it's not up all the way up there for me.
What is after Thor Ragnarok?
After Thor Ragnarok, at number 5, Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Ooh.
Listen, here's what happened on this one. Okay?
I love this logo though.
I believe I had this movie number 1.
But it's that high?
I think so. I think it's my favorite Marvel movie. It's at least.
It's not a bad movie.
It's at least top 3 for me. But you had it down. I think at 9 or something.
It was low. When we
you
were
had
doing
it low
consensus
in this ranking. So when they bashed together, it ended up kind of stuck here in the middle, just outside the top 4, which I think is criminal. You
gotta remember, guys, we're doing this Ultimate MCU brackets, top 4 from each phase are moving on. So I mean, Homecoming missed. I wish we'd probably be arguing more had we had our rankings in front of us, because then we could see our differences. Yep. But I remember when this one came up, like, where do you have it? You're like number 3 or 2 or 1, whatever it was, and I was like, oh, mine's like 10.
Yeah, very different.
Great movie.
Yeah,
it just.
I know. You don't need to tell me that.
It's not.
I think I like Homecoming the best out of all. But part of that is probably that it's the first one.
Where do you rank the Spider-Man movies?
It's really hard.
Just the 3.
1, 2, 3, maybe.
You go that way? You think No Way Home is worse than Far From Home?
Maybe.
See, I go the opposite. No Way Home, Far From Home, Homecoming.
What do you like about the Spider-Man movies? Like, what is it that you enjoy?
I cried in the last one because my childhood showed up through little portals. Twice. It happened twice.
Yes. And that makes you like that one the most.
It's a nostalgia thing, and it just is what it is, right? Far From Home, like I said, it's just a really solid movie. I love Jake Gyllenhaal in it. I think he's way better than Vulture. Michael Keaton did a great job. But I like that arc because it comes out of nowhere. Because we knew he was a villain. I don't know. It's just a solid movie. Maybe I like the setting more. I think it's the setting in Homecoming that throws me off.
See, I think it's funny because I think that's what I like about Tom Holland's Spider-Man is it feels like he's a high school student. I like vibe with that for whatever reason. I love that aspect of it. Like, watching this
That's fair.
high school kid go through normal high school stuff and deal with his funny high school friends and like this awkwardness. Like that's what I love about the movies. And so it's like
the awkwardness.
Homecoming is that. Like that's all that. Far From Home is that taken out and moved to another place.
That's true.
That's the movie so good. And then No Way Home is like kind of its own thing, right? And it's like I love it.
Yeah,
Phenomenal.
It is.
But it's very different than the other two.
I think at that point, I mean, we already had 5 Spider-Man movies in New York.
Oh, yeah.
Like the Iron Man. I always forget about Iron Man being in it. Like that happened. I don't know. Maybe it just felt like a Spider-Man movie that I've already gotten at that. Like especially now with like Far From Home and No Way Home being 2 completely different
Is
Spider-Man
Tom Holland
movies.
your favorite Spider-Man? That probably
That's
plays into it
hard.
as well.
Is he
'cause
your
he's
favorite
my
Spider-Man?
favorite by far.
I think he plays Peter Parker the best. I think my favorite Spider-Man though is Tobey Maguire.
Okay.
When he's swinging around, and maybe it goes back to being a nostalgia thing. I watched the first one the other day, and he's just like, woohoo! Like I'm like, that's fun. I have a ball at that, right? Like Tom Holland really doesn't do stuff like that. He's got the mouth and the smart, witty comments and the awkwardness and all that, but like Spider-Man is like having fun and like while he's whipping around.
We probably need to do a Spider-Man
deep dive
like, video ranking all the Spider-Mans.
That's fun.
All right, let's get into the movies that make
Top
it to our bracket. Number 4.
What do we
Chef's
got?
Kiss. Black Panther.
Black Panther.
We had some trouble kind of finagling these
top 4.
These top 4 rankings. I think it was like 4, 5, 6 we had trouble with as we were like finalizing our list. And I just kind of stopped and I said, I looked at him and I was like, can we leave Black Panther off of the top 4?
No.
And it's like, no, you can't. You absolutely
And I think the problem is, like, if you're watching this, you've seen Marvel movies. I'm not going to spoil anything here because you know what 2 movies are in this list, right? But like the 2 Avenger movies, you know, they wrap up the phase. They wrap up to that point 10, 11 years of Marvel movies. It's one big 10-year cohesive story. It's done beautifully. There was, you know, input from everyone that's really done Marvel movies. 2 Avenger movies. It was going to be hard to perfect, but really just hard to not do anything good with.
Yeah.
You take those movies out, you put Black Panther in a whole other phase, it's top 1 or 2. You know, it is. It's
so different from anything else and just so well done.
And just the
Michael B. Jordan, one of the best performances I think in all of them.
One of the best MCU villains, right? The meaning this movie meant still.
It's
Chadwick
such a
Boseman.
good movie and then like has so much like social implication to it as well that it can carry that much as a superhero movie is awesome.
It's a beautiful. It's one of those movies I don't think about. It's like my favorite, but when I'm sitting down and watching, I'm like, what? And what am I watching? Like this is amazing.
Good. And then obviously the soundtrack.
Oh man,
Holy
Kendrick Lamar. It's so good. So we're in top 3. Call these next 2 movies in what order you will. You and I went back and forth on this one.
But sounds like you just agreed with me earlier.
Oh, I guess I did kind of agree with you. So number 3, topping out number 3, we have Avengers
Endgame.
Endgame. Oh, that's a paw print.
There we go.
This is weird. Okay, I feel like I'm on a date.
A very awkward, weird date.
Avengers Endgame. It's it's the culmination. It's everything.
Yeah.
It's got the best scene in cinematic history, in my opinion. It is what it is. Part of our intro, if you've
history.
seen. Dude, this movie is over 5 years old, and it's still the best. And then he says it. It's been 10 years, and he says it. He goes, "Avengers, assemble." Dude, and then the Carbonite crew comes in. Like, it's great. It's great.
That scene is
It gives me
unbelievable.
goosebumps. I've watched that scene hundreds of times, and I get goosebumps every single time. I might throw it in.
Avengers! Assemble.
I probably threw it in.
Yeah.
You probably just watched it.
It's worth it.
Because it's so
It's
good.
absolutely worth it.
It's definitely saved on my computer.
I'm glad you did that.
It's 100% saved on my computer.
There we go. Well, that's easy.
It's
Perfect.
so good. What a scene. It's that scene. I mean, that scene could have been a movie and it'd probably be ranked right here.
So, I really like the ending sequence of this. I think the last kind of battle was really good and all of that stuff. The way they kind of do everything. Everything that led up to it, though,
things.
is kind of like, right?
This is maybe I'm the only one in this camp. This is the equivalent to 5-year-old me watching Return of the Jedi, because all I care about is the Vader and Luke scene. And I know the whole movie, I'm like, you know, you gotta eat your dinner before you have dessert. I'm like, we're getting here, we're getting here, we're getting here. We're there. Endgame. It's building, it's building, it's building, it's building. You know the battle's coming, you know the battle's coming. And you've already seen the implications of really them losing the battle, because they already did. Found a way to kind of sort of reset it. So let's see what can happen. So you have that tension of, I already know what can happen. So it's really unique in that aspect. But that final battle.
No, they did a really good job with that. There's a lot of pressure. We've been watching these movies at this point for 15 years or whatever it's been. Like, we know it's gonna end in a big battle, right? Like, that's just how this goes. There's a lot of pressure to get that right.
I mean, part of me, dude, I mean, it's been more 5 years removed from this movie. There are parts of me that think that still should have been it. Granted, we've gotten really beautiful things.
Like, we've gotten some really good stuff since then, but there's an argument to be said. We did this so well. Do we keep going or do we call it? Granted,
it's the Tom Brady dilemma.
There's a lot of money to be made, so I get not stopping. Trust me.
Oh, no, financially and
I'm
from
not
a business
complaining
aspect,
about
I get
it
it.
either.
I'm talking about from a fandom aspect. I'm excited for the Avenger movies, but you just can't do it again. And I think we're at a consensus that you cannot do that ever again.
Yeah, I think if you ask most people, like, hey, do you think that this is going to end better than the Thanos plot did? And people are probably like, no, I don't think so.
It's like, what's the beauty of Harry Potter?
The beauty of
the Harry Potter movie.
Oh man, a lot.
One of the most beautiful things about them is we grew up with the characters. We grew up with the actors. We watched them grow. When you look at old MCU, the whole thing was, let's get lesser known actors. We watched these actors grow in 10 years. We watched these characters grow in 10 years. Like, getting goosebumps talking about it. You grew with them. And now it's awesome seeing all these actors and people in it, you know, like, you know, Harrison Ford's coming in, Seth Rollins is coming in. Like, you have all these people and it's awesome, but it's not the same.
It's not.
It's not Chris Hemsworth's Thor. It was magical. You just can't do it. You literally told a story from beginning to end over 10 years with different movies. It had never been done before. Not on that scale, I should say. You can't start over and do that again.
Right, no.
You'd have to wait 40 years. And even then, you're still going to look back on this back, they're just doing the Marvel thing.
And you're going to mess it up and make everybody mad.
DC wanted to do it so bad, they just started skipping things. Like, I don't... and it didn't work.
Oh, man.
I mean, DC really, I mean, if they would have, like, even though they were 4 or 5 years behind at the time, well, they just really weren't even that far behind, and just followed the same formula, I bet you.
You think so? If they would have just kind of like carbon copied it?
It wouldn't have been as magical, but I mean, with the comics, you know, you could, I think they could have come really, really close.
It's interesting to think about.
But let's get to number 2.
We obviously kind of spoiled this. Number 2 is Infinity War.
Number 1 on a lot of people's lists.
Yeah, I would say so.
And the last 2 are number 1. I mean, so we're going against the grain a little bit.
Yep.
It is a beautiful movie.
It really is.
And so there's so much cutscenes, like going back and forth between characters.
I like Infinity War because I like it from start to finish. It's really sad. It is a very sad movie. But that's part of the beauty of it. The courage it took to just kill everybody and then end the movie. I still think about that. I'm like, they did that. We walked out of the theater after Thanos killed half of life with the...
Right after we thought Thor was going to beat him.
Yes.
Like, puts Stormbreaker into his chest and he's like, kidding. And Thor realizes it as he's doing it.
That movie is so good. And I love so much of what happens during it. The scenes going on and the action in it is so good. I like it more than Endgame. Even though that ending part of Endgame is probably the best part of both of those movies, I just like more of Infinity War.
I said they should have ended with Endgame. You get more controversial, you end with the snap. Why not? Why not end with the snap?
No, you can't end with the snap.
Why? Does it make you mad a little bit? That's the point.
That's
100%
that's why you can't do it. People would not like it.
I love it. That's why.
Maybe.
We already have a sequel trilogy.
You only
for Star
like
Wars.
it though because
it's the same thing.
You only like it. You only like it because we do have the ending.
That's actually a great point.
You can't.
And we knew there was 2 parts to this movie from the get.
We did know
that's
that.
the problem.
But it was still cool for them to kind of do it that way, I thought. So we've talked a lot about these 2 Avengers movies.
What if they wouldn't even have shown everyone just like disappearing and they just snapped the end of the movie? Would it have hit the same?
If they did what?
Like, so he snaps. Thor's like, no, and then Peter's like, I don't feel good, and Rock and everyone's disappearing, right? Sand. Like, what if you don't have that?
If you just
what if that's
snaps?
what if that's the beginning of Endgame?
Oh, that would have been cool.
Like you just have Thor screaming no, and then you have the snap.
I like the idea of it
because people would know what it is, like follow comics.
The only thing with that is that you have that like 5-year time gap
In Endgame,
between the two,
right?
And then all of a sudden that happens after the first like 3 minutes of Endgame.
Well, what if
that would feel less clean? But I like it.
You snap.
Granted, you could just write a different.
No.
You could also write a different plot. It doesn't
could.
have to be the same.
So you snap. Thor
Roll
screams
credits.
no. Oh, you snap and you fade to and then you fade to black, and then you hear Thor scream no.
Ooh, that's cool too.
And then there's no post-credit scene. I don't even remember if there was a post-credit scene.
I bet not. There's no way.
You do. I feel like there was. I don't know. Whatever. And then you go to Endgame, and it says, and that's how it starts. It's like it's doing the Marvel logo, whatever, and you hear Thanos go like that, and you hear Thor go no, and then throw some more like distressing sounds in there, and then that first. Oh, I remember what the post-credit scene is. It's Samuel L. Jackson with Captain Marvel's thing when he disappears.
Oh, that's right.
So that's the opening scene. It says 2018 or 2019, whatever year it is, and that's like the first scene is that him disappearing, and like Maria Hill's like, what like whatever, and then maybe it starts to cut back to all of them kind of like dying. And
Sure.
like, oh, this isn't good.
Yeah, not good at all.
And then you throw a scene in there. It cuts. It's like current day or present day, 5 years later, 2022 or whatever it was, and like I would say start with Natasha being really sad and upset because I think that sets up her death later in the movie, with the movie really starting with her in present day.
Okay.
And then then you go on to the thing, but I guess Endgame starts with them going back to kill Thanos, like right at the end of Infinity War. I don't know. There's a way in the world where that works. That needs hashed out, but I don't know. I love it.
It would have been a cool ending to end just like on the snap, and then we don't see it
because
until the next movie.
Infinity War ends sad. But how much cooler is it if you end like in suspense?
Yeah.
Because like I said, if you read the comics, we knew what happened.
Right.
But we don't see it happen.
And he was telling us, like, that's what he was going to do.
What about Half-Life? Exactly. Yeah. So you hear him, and then you hear Thor scream no.
Yep. I wonder if they thought about it, but then they decided they needed to do it differently.
That's a room I would have loved to be in.
Oh, that was such a cool room to be in.
The two Avenger movies were 2 and 3.
Yeah.
People are probably sitting there like, what is number 1? What other movies are in this phase? And honestly, it's one of the best movies. It's one of the best comic book story arcs that is out there, in my opinion.
So good.
And it is none other than Civil War. Captain America Civil War. Third in the trilogy. This was really our third Avengers movie.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
A year after Age of Ultron. This was our Avengers movie, minus Hulk and Thor.
For whatever reason, they just didn't want to call it an Avengers movie.
It's all about Cap, really.
Yeah.
If you watch the movie and be like, this is a Captain America movie, you will see that it's geared as a Captain America movie. Because you can make an argument for both Team Cap, Team Tony, but the movie narrates it.
That's a really good point.
As more sided on Cap, like as if he's the right one.
They make Tony the bad guy.
They should have made Captain America Civil War and followed it up with Iron Man Civil War.
And so you're saying cover the same time period.
Basically the two different perspectives.
That would have been really interesting.
Because then you really divide people.
You make them both and you release them at the same time.
Ooh.
And then you got to pick which one to go to, and it's like the Pokemon games.
Oh, dude, Marvel, you messed up, bro. You messed up.
It. I know you didn't play the Pokemon games, but Pokemon, they come out in pairs. It's like Pokemon Ruby and Pokemon Sapphire, and you got to pick the one.
Is it like different stories?
No, it's the same game 95%. There's like a couple things that'll be a little bit different.
Silly. That's what they should have done.
But it's a marketing thing, right? And it's the same idea where it's like, hey, this is the same plot.
Or Marvel Civil War and you don't know which one you're getting. How many times are people going to the theaters? A bunch.
It's like the Dum Dum that you don't know the flavor.
Yes, it's the mystery flavor.
That'd be hilarious.
And you don't know it until like they show the thing at the beginning.
Wow.
Dude, Marvel, L.
You just sold
Big L, dude.
sold a lot more tickets.
This
that
is
way.
why DC's better. I'm just kidding. Yeah, you would have sold
Imagine going to the movie like 5 times in a row and it's just the same one.
The thing is, they've done that. There was the Clue movie. Other movies have done it where there's like 4 or 5 different endings, and you don't know what you're getting until you watch it in the theater.
Oh, that's cool.
Right?
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, and I think it did really well. I think that was like early 90s, mid 90s. Like it did well. Or no, that might have been 80s. Yeah, so it's like not even an ending. You're gonna almost hold it because you shoot all that at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You tell it from guide the story how you want it, how you want to push what narrative.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's
It's
that's
there,
a really
dude.
interesting thought.
Hey, you think Endgame and Infinity War are cool?
Yeah. All that to say,
Because then you get your fourth Iron Man
we're
movie.
like redoing this movie, but in all reality, it does not
such
need
a great
redone.
movie.
It's phenomenal. One of the better storylines, I think, as far as like what Cap and Bucky kind of go throughout this, and
that's
the
a big reason why it's a Cap
reveals.
movie
Mhm,
because
yeah.
of that stuff.
Yeah,
too.
the reveals and like the inner fighting within the Avengers is really cool. The introductions we get, maybe it's just the one, but getting introduced to my favorite Avenger was a lot of fun for me.
Who was introduced in this movie? Oh, Spider-Man. We were talking about like half
Peter
an hour
Parker.
ago.
The way that that was in that movie.
Oh, and then in Homecoming they showed how he's
Yeah.
vlogging it, and like it's from the other point of view. Like, I was just like, did he just like after he got beat up go get his phone
Yes.
and grab it and leave?
I assume so. I don't know. He probably had a GoPro.
How did his phone survive that?
I don't know.
That airport got demolished.
It's probably a GoPro.
No, it was his phone. I mean, that's a good argument. You could do that. That's a good point. You get that. The marketing even for it was just brilliant because you have the scene in the trailer, which I actually think the scene hits harder in the trailer than it does in the movie, but where Cap's like, he's my friend, I can't whatever, and Tony's like, I thought we were, or he's like, you were my, or he's like, I'm your friend, or you're my friend, and they're like, oh, okay, oops. Like, and it's a really realistic struggle.
I think that's the biggest thing is like they don't hold back, and you never feel like, oh, this doesn't make sense. It's like you take the perfection out of the superhero story, and it's like this really probably would be a
It's
thing
the first
that
time the
could
government's
happen.
like, you realize the kind of damage you cause, right? Because Scarlet Witch kills people inadvertently in the beginning. And it's like, you realize what's wrong with this, and Cap realizes it. That's the thing. Is he realizes it, but he's like, but you realize if they control us, like that's in their hands now, not in our hands anymore. And then you have like Wanda, and he's like, yo, she's a kid.
Yeah.
Like she's terrified. That's the problem right now. And it's just like, oh, there's a lot of just.
It's good stuff. That's the one I want to go watch again.
That's a great movie. I absolutely adore that movie. You get Black Panther. That's the first time he shows up, right?
Yep.
He's not that. Spider-Man and Black Panther show up in the same movie.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's not. That's
That's
they do so
crazy.
much. Isn't it nuts?
That's
It's
so
crazy.
And like that movie sets up Black Panther because of what happens in that movie. He becomes King T'Challa.
King T'Challa. Yep. It's the first Ant-Man in as an Avenger.
Yep. He still can't believe it, and that just carries over into everything else. It's crazy how many things were actually introduced in that movie.
It's nuts when you
I
go back
remember
and think about it.
when I don't know if you've ever read the actual like story. I own it, like the big version of it. All the comics together, dude. It's beautiful.
Oh,
Like
cool.
actually, the comic is better than the movie.
Wow.
There's more, yeah. And it's
Jeez.
like I think the X-Men are in the comic,
Oh, neat.
so
Okay.
it's like, but they won't take sides. That's the big thing.
Oh, okay.
Because they don't want to be involved in.
I can see that.
Yeah, it's-
because
it's-
they're kind of their own thing, right?
Yeah, and it's pretty cool. And there's
Yeah.
more heroes in it, but yeah, you should watch.
Oh man.
It's pretty great. It's pretty great.
Well, let's go ahead. Let's recap then our top 4 and reminders. We are going to have a bracket. So next week-ish, we'll talk about Phase 4 and rank those movies. I don't remember how many there are. I think there's like 8 or something like that. So we'll rank the Phase 4 movies. Also, some really good ones in there. Very
So
good
good.
Phase 4
So
movies.
good. No Way Home.
Another one of my favorites is in there. Another couple of my favorites are in there. We'll rank the Phase 4 movies, and then after that, we'll get the bracket
So let's
set up.
let's throw up the top 4 that we've got.
Black
So we've got
Panther,
Black Panther,
Endgame,
Endgame, Infinity War, and
of
Civil
course,
War.
Civil
There's a
War.
lot of war going on here.
There's a
Apparently
lot of
we
war.
like that. We
I
like
think
fighting.
that's why we watch superhero movies, right?
Yeah, that is. That's very. I love this logo.
It's a good
Like
one.
how little the Captain America. And I never noticed this either. I assume this was intentional. It came out in 2016. It is 2023. You realize what I'm about to say? Or you just
No,
age of,
the age of that is nuts.
I'm looking at my screen. Look at the Captain America. Those are Iron Man colors, right?
Oh, or is it just USA colors?
You're right. Tony's more patriotic than Cap. Confirmed. Confirmed. I think the Captain America is the best trilogy of all. This is the best. Is the best set of movies.
Yeah, but that feels unfair
No, it
because
doesn't.
he gets Civil War. Nobody else gets that much in their movie. Like
I'm not gonna reveal my bracket, but I can tell you, take out Civil War. I can tell you, Winter Soldier goes pretty far in my bracket.
well, it definitely does. You're right, but like
Okay, let's just say
no, it probably wins. No. I mean, I like Spider-Man better, but
ooh, that's a good trilogy of movies too. Ooh. See, take out No Way Home. Wow, man, they really landed on these threes. You got Cap,
yep.
Thor,
Thor
Spider-Man,
has 4, right?
but the third in the movie. So like you got
You're saying
Civil War.
Yep.
Like they hit on that third.
Mm-hmm.
So what else are we getting 3 movies from? Ant-Man. I think that.
I could see
Yeah, that hits. I mean, Guardians hits
Yeah.
pretty well.
Guardians did, Ant-Man did. We will get a Doctor Strange 3, I assume, at some point.
I have no idea, dude. Are we getting a Star-Lord movie?
A Star-Lord.
Because at the end of Guardians 3, is that Star-Lord will return.
Yeah, but he might just return in something
Like in
else.
Avengers?
Or in
Probably
a
in
Guardians
Avengers.
movie.
No, I think Guardians is done.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's the exact
At least James Gunn's version.
It's the exact opposite of how I
That's what I'm
expected it to
saying.
go.
That's why it threw me off when they put that on the screen.
So maybe he is just now an Avenger, but by himself? He's on Earth, so it kind of works.
He seems like the type of guy that.
But he's just
tried
a
to start
dude.
His own. He started a podcast for sure. 100%.
You're totally right.
And I can see him like trying to like make his own little Avengers team. It would be like the Deadpool thing in Deadpool 2 where he puts together a team and they're just bad. That would be Star-Lord's team.
Okay.
I hope Star-Lord is in Deadpool 3.
That's a thought.
That's it. Star-Lord in Deadpool 3.
Oh my gosh.
Stamp it. It's happening.
I
That's
could see him
perfect.
being in
You
a
know how
show,
awkward
too.
that is?
It's fun. It's good stuff. It's good.
Deadpool making fun of Star-Lord. I'm here for it. Kevin Feige, do it. All right, that's our
wrap this thing
bracket
up.
for Phase 3.
Mm-hmm.
Phase 4 next week.
Yep.
Reveal big bracket. We'll have you guys vote on it. We're gonna do our own brackets.
Oh, yeah.
And or you can come up with your own bracket if you want.
we're gonna fight.
And we're gonna
On camera.
fight. Just watch and find out. We'll do it on a live show. Be
There we
fun.
go. Yeah.
Big duke it out.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you guys for watching, listening, whatever you're doing. Subscribe, hit the like button, smash it, whatever the kids say nowadays.
Do the things.
And do all of the things that you're supposed to do on YouTube. And none of the stuff you're not supposed to do. So thank you guys for watching. Till next time, may the force be with you. Team Cap all the way.
See you guys.
See you.